Lisa, roll call. Present.
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 Here.
Present.
Great. And Mr. Evan Grace, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And adoption of the agenda. Do I have any motions or amendments?
Motion to approve as written.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to be the call to the public. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38431, action taken as result of a public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for a future agenda. The board respects that all comments be limited to 3 minutes or less, and that the public refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to board policy KFA. And I do have 2 cards. Mary Grace?
Right, Dr. Chestnut, members of the board, community members. I'm here to talk about homecoming. It's that time of year to start planning Maricopa's week-long celebration. I want to remind everybody that our planning meetings are on Tuesday, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock in the MHS library. We need all the help we can get. We've got lots to plan. First things first, we're going to be having our annual proclamations on September 20th at the City Council meeting, where it starts at 7. We're asking everybody to be there by 6:30. Show your Ram Pride. Let's get loud. That week, we're going to be having the district-wide Spirit Week, and in the midst of all our planning, we're waiting for approval, so we can't really give details yet, but we've got a lot of stuff that we hope to do, but until those approvals come, we're waiting. So I can just briefly say that on that Monday of homecoming week will be an Ultrastar/Tortosa evening. Tuesday, the 27th, will be a Powder Puff game starting at 6. Wednesday, we're going to have our Paint the Town Red voting happening, as well as a new promotion that we're having partnered up with the restaurants that's going to be promoting to eat local, and we're going to call it Ramily Night. That night is also going to be our freshman football game at 6 o'clock. Thursday, National Honor Society will be hosting a blood drive, and we're hoping to get approval for a Ram Fest alumni game and bonfire at Copper Sky. Friday, we're going to have our new BFF, Corey from Fox 10, come out and visit us again. There will be an afternoon assembly, and we are hoping to get a walking parade approved, and then, of course, the big game. And then Saturday will be homecoming, and Sunday I'll go to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you. And Christine Fuller.
Can you hear me if I don't hold this?
No, unfortunately, you're going to have to hold it up.
Okay, I'm Christine Fuller, and I'm here representing CERT, which is the Maricopa Fire Department Volunteer Program Community Emergency Response Team. I'm here to speak on behalf of Peg Chapados and Henry Wade, who are co-chairing the second annual COPA History Hunt as part of the 2016 Stagecoach Days. This year's partners are the Maricopa Historical Society, the Maricopa Police Department Police Explorers, and then Maricopa Fire Department CERT volunteers. These partners, the 3 organizations, will share equally in the proceeds from this event. So it gives us an opportunity to earn some monies that otherwise we don't have available to us. The Maricopa Monitor is the media sponsor this year, so watch for announcements, articles, and some hints to solving some of the clues in upcoming issues or on their web, the www.copamonitor.com. What is COPA History Hunt? If you missed it last year, it is a digital scavenger hunt. It challenges you to know about Maricopa or what you think you know about Maricopa. It's not a photo contest, but the way you answer the clues is by taking pictures of the answers, so that you have to go around town and find the answers to the clues. You can submit as few as 5 photos or as many as 20, and then you receive points, and there's various levels of points. The higher the points, the little more difficult it is, but you get more points is the key. It's that simple. It's a great activity for all ages, as a family or as a group of friends. Participants can play as an individual for $10, a team for $15, or a pair of 15, or 3 to 6 as a team for $25. You can register online starting September 6th at 8 p.m. with a credit card for $1 extra fee, or in person at Copper Sky on October 8th between 9 and noon at the large Ramada. The hunt will begin that day, and then you'll have through Thursday night till 9 o'clock to submit by email your pictures. And then there are prizes, cash prizes, and some gift baskets, and there'll be games to play to add to your score. And if you have any questions, you can email copahistoryhunt@gmail.com. So we'd like to see a good turnout. It's a lot of fun, it's very educational, and we'd like to invite the school district to pass out what you can. I have a few cards, and invite your students to participate. It's very educational. Thank you. Okay.
All right, Dr. Chestnut, Superintendent's Report.
Governing Board, I want to start by recognizing and congratulating Evan Grace, who's been recently appointed to Governor Ducey's Youth Commission. Very proud of him and the good work that he does in our community. Before I have him come up here, I want to just tell you a little bit about him and what this committee's about. Got to find the right piece of paper here. There it is. Oh, we do? Yeah. Ah, well then, we'll come back to this. Why don't I just talk about him now, and then we can give the certificate at the agenda point. So we're very proud of Evan. He's appointed to the Governor's Youth Commission with Governor Ducey. The Governor's Youth Commission holds quarterly meetings and coordinates special projects for youth and educational and volunteer activities. It is part of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family. High school administration recommended Evan for this appointment. He received a letter of recommendation from Mayor Price and was interviewed at the Capitol. The approval letter that he received from the governor stated, "In recognition of your outstanding achievement, we are pleased to offer you an appointment to the 2016-17 Governor's Youth Commission. This application process was incredibly competitive with a high volume of applicants for the number of available spaces. Given your dedication to service and demonstrated leadership skills, we are thrilled to count you among the select group." And Evan was formally inducted into the commission and had his first meeting on August 6th. So he'll have to wait a few more minutes to get the certificate. Last meeting, I told you about our welcome back all-staff meeting, and I left out 2 very important slides that I'm 99% sure I did not show you, and I wanted to make sure I highlighted these. One of the things we're really excited about this year is our National Board Professional Development Schools at Maricopa High School, Maricopa Elementary School, and Butterfield. And Heidi Vrattel, who's sitting in the back row, is leading this process and doing a great job, and it's a result of the NT3 federal grant that we received. Our goal is to have 30 candidates pursuing national board certification, and the current number of people interested is 45. Heidi reminded me that it's not, they might not all decide to pursue it, but they're all thinking about it, and we're hoping that 45 decide to pursue this. So appreciate Heidi's good work on that. That's going to be a great initiative for us because that's a great program, and we're excited about that. The other thing I forgot to mention was that this year we have 2 big trainings going on involving elementary teachers. And one is Positive Behavior Intervention System, which is, Positive Behavior Intervention and Support, which is a grant from ADE. It's a training provided by ADE. It's, you have to apply for it. We got accepted into this. There's some small cost to us, but a lot of it is free from ADE. And we plan to train 3 teams this year: Butterfield, Pima Butte, and Santa Cruz. And our students get more challenging every year. This is a system-wide, I should say school-wide system of student behavior, and it's research-based. It's been around for a number of years, and it's not going to cure all of our student management and discipline issues, but it is a very positive step in that direction. Our goal would be to train the other 3 elementaries next year, and possibly the middle schools the year after that. So we want this to be a district-wide program, and anyway, we're getting started on that. Saddleback and Butterfield have used PBIS in past years, and they've had some training, but this will kind of get us to the next level, get us launched at those 3 elementaries. The other big training that's going on this year is ADISA training, and I know that Maria is going to talk about that, so I won't spend a lot of time talking about that, but we have 3 elementary schools involved in that, MES, Saddleback, and Santa Rosa, and that is coordinated through Arizona Department of Education as well. On August 16th, the Maricopa Elementary School mascot made its annual August visit to a different elementary school, and Principal Dr. Jen Robinson is in the back. She claims she has nothing to do with this, and that the Maricopa Maricopa Elementary Diamondback is, out of her control. I'm not convinced about that, but the visit was at Pima Butte Elementary on the playground, and as usual, it was spotted by students who reported it to staff, and the fire department came in and took care of that rattlesnake, and I believe it was Anne Marie's son that reported that snake. So appreciate that.
So now it's back at MES?
It was supposedly taken out way out in the countryside, so hopefully he won't be back next year. On the 17th, I attended the monthly board meeting for the Maricopa Economic Development Alliance. I always like to plug that group because they are the ones behind the recent video that I hope to show you in a few moments. But they very much understand that we have to have strong public schools to have a thriving community, and I really appreciate that support from that group. That same day, I attended a PTO organizational meeting here at the district office. Jim Irving put that together. Tori Anderson was there, so thank you to Tori for being there. And it was just a way to kind of talk to PTO groups and talk about some of the things that are going on this year. And I let them know, I gave them some override information and some override information handouts and that kind of thing. And appreciated Jim organizing that meeting. He does a good job of working closely with the PTOs and booster clubs. Enrollment is always an interesting topic, so here it is. Butterfield is on there. Let's just do it that way. There's the elementary schools, 6 elementary schools plus preschool. You can see our actual number as of Friday was 3,481, and we projected 3,678. So we're still down a couple hundred at the elementary level, which is kind of interesting. Let me rephrase that. We're down about 100 because that does not include our self-contained special ed. So we're down about 100 at elementary. Not showing that very well on this slide, so I'll keep working on that. Secondary, you can see that we are up 42 at Desert Wind, above projection, 69 above projection at Maricopa Wells, and 22 above projection as of Friday. But MHS Principal Renita Myers is in the back row, and she tells me that she's pretty certain we have more than 1,991 students. So I know that some probably trickled in this week. There's a good chance it is over 2,000, which is kind of a milestone number, but a lot of students, more than we expected at the high school, which is a good problem to have. So we're making it work, and appreciate Principal Myers' efforts to make that work up there at the high school. But anyway, overall, you can see that our difference then, we're down 64 over what we projected. So there's a very good chance by the next time you see this slide, we're going to be above projection. At least that's what I'm projecting. Also have to celebrate a big win on the 19th. The Rams won 20-6 versus Willow Canyon, and you know, we're up a division this year, and the competition is tougher than ever. And in previous years, we traveled to Tucson a lot for some of our league games, which are some of our furthest opponents. We no longer travel south, but now we travel north, northwest. So Willow Canyon is actually our furthest out competitor. I believe it's 70 miles from here. So it's kind of like driving to Tucson. But it was worth driving up there because the Rams won, so congratulations to them. And then yesterday, the META group I told you about sponsored the TV segment featuring Maricopa Wells Middle School and Santa Rosa Elementary School, and Chris is going to roll the tape, and in case you haven't seen it, you'll get to see it now. Yep, coming.
This school district on the map. Mayor Price, it's always so great to come to the city of Maricopa, and it's especially exciting today. We're inside Maricopa Wells Middle School.
Yeah.
There is some excitement going on inside the classrooms here. It's called blended learning. What is that?
Well, blended learning is a program in which our students both take the traditional way of learning with teachers, but they also have that opportunity to use digital media and online resources to work both individually and collectively with their peers. They focus on projects and do great accomplishments because of it.
When I walked in, I said it felt like I was in a college campus student union. There's a waiting list to get into the blended learning curriculum.
Correct.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because of the success of the
Education, it's important to parents, and it's critical to a thriving community. Classroom innovation is earning these students high marks and putting this school district on the map. Mayor Price, it's always so great to come to the city of Maricopa, and it's especially exciting today. We're inside Maricopa Wells Middle School. There is some excitement going on inside the classrooms here. It's called blended learning. What is that?
Well, blended learning is a program in which our students both take the traditional way of learning with teachers, but they also have that opportunity to use digital media and online resources to work both individually and collectively with their peers. They focus on projects and do great accomplishments because of it.
When I walked in, I said it felt like I was in a college campus student union. There's a waiting list to get into the blended learning curriculum.
Correct.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because of the success of the program. One of the things that we've seen here is that it started small, it was innovative, something that our residents really demand of our school district, and in that process they found that there has been such great success. We've gone from 75 students to 150, from 2 teachers to 4. We have one of the most highly educated group of residents of any city in the entire state of Arizona, and as such, our residents and our constituency actually demand that our school district perform up to those levels. It's something that they expect. And so this blended learning program is kind of a result of that desire. One of the things that people don't understand often is that when a business is looking to relocate, they do so based on the school system. And it's one of the first questions out of their mouth. One of the things I really like to do is get on Facebook, and when I see someone that's moving to Maricopa, one of the first questions out of their mouth will be, how are the schools and the school system there? So, you know, whether you're just an individual moving here or whether you're a business relocating here, it's something that we want to make sure we have something for everybody.
Dr. Chestnut is the superintendent of Maricopa Unified School District. How rewarding is your job, and describe this district to us?
Well, I have the most rewarding job in the city of Maricopa, and this is a great school district. We have 6,500 students. We have 9 beautiful brand new school buildings, and we have some very unique academic programs, technology-rich learning environment for students, and really 9 different unique academic focus areas at each of our 9 schools.
And one of those academic programs that's really getting a lot of attention is the blended learning. We were just over at the middle school. They were using it there, and now we're at Santa Rosa Elementary School. So it starts young. They're using it here too.
That's right, yes. At Santa Rosa Elementary School, we have a blended learning classroom in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have a traditional classroom model also at each grade level, but parents and students have a choice, and we're very excited about blended learning, and it's now offered in grades 3 through 10 in our school district at 4 different schools. You know, the unique thing about blended learning is the students do a lot of their academic work on the laptops, and that's a lot like the real world. It's a lot like the AZ Merit Test. It's a lot like college, and we think it creates a great learning environment. Typically, in our blended learning classrooms, we have more project-based learning. We have more team-oriented learning where students work in groups, and that certainly happens in other classrooms also. But our blended learning classrooms, they really lend themselves to that style of learning for our students. A lot of good feedback from parents, teachers, and students.
And the blended learning students, they were in that competition, in the Future City competition. They had to design their own city. And they said, you know what, Mayor, we're going to give you a pat on the back. This isn't an easy job.
You know, it's a funny story because when I came into that situation at first, they said, oh, we can be mayor now because we're all building a city. And by the end of the semester, they came back to me and said, you know, that building a city, that's tough stuff. Because, you know, once we put up a factory over here, it pollutes this water, and then we can't build that. We don't have the revenue for this. So it really gave them a wonderful opportunity to see firsthand what they have to go through in order to create something from nothing.
And for more information about the city of Maricopa and to learn more about blended learning, visit lifeinmaricopa.com and follow all the great things happening in that city on their Facebook page.
Learning program and Santa Cruz Elementary. So good publicity for MUSD. Wanted to report that on August 23rd, we had our first principal PLC meeting. And as you know, teachers in our school district meet regularly in professional learning community groups. And each of those groups really works on these 4 questions. What do we expect our students to learn? How will we know they are learning? How will we respond when they don't? And how will we respond if they already know it? And you know, that may look like an easy list of questions, but is not. And a lot of depth of discussion can go into each of those. And it really has been a wonderful format for us as a school district to improve student achievement. And so as principals, we decided that we needed to kind of practice what we were preaching, because principals are a very big part of our PLC groups. And district offices too, but we decided that we're going to change it up a bit this year, so about 1 principal meeting each month. We're going to really focus on those 4 questions. And Dr. Jen Robinson, principal at Maricopa Elementary School, who just happens to be here tonight in the back row. You can wave if you want. Yeah, there she is. She is our facilitator, and I think it'll end up being shared by principals. We do it a little different. Normally when we have a principal meeting, we meet here, but for our PLC meetings, we're going to meet on site, and those site visits will include some tours of the school to see how each school does it in a unique way. And we have different academic focus at each school, and you know how it is. You get locked in on your own building if you're the principal, so we want to get out and make sure that we're sharing with each other the good work that's being done. And anyway, it was a great meeting. Appreciate Dr. Robinson's leadership of this process. Big news. This is official information you haven't seen. We couldn't release it until 12 noon today. And these are the 2016 Maricopa High School ACT results. That's one of the major tests that students take if they're thinking of going on to college or university. We just happen to have some of our honors and AP teachers in the back row that are partly responsible for these scores and should be proud of them. We are above the state average on all 4 tests. And that's pretty wonderful news and pretty remarkable to see. Generally, we're above the state average on 2 or 3, but since I've been here anyway, in 5 years, this is the first time we've been above the state average on all 4. Very proud of that. We have an excellent college prep program at Maricopa High School, and you know, I brag about that regularly, but we also know that it doesn't just start, you know, suddenly when students take the ACT in grade 11. Or 12, it really starts in kindergarten, and especially for those students that have come up through our system, they're well prepared by the time they get to that level. So it's definitely a 13-year team effort by hundreds of teachers and staff to make these kind of results possible, and we're proud of that, and looking to improve them again next year.
Is that on the website?
Not yet. It's just
Might be like on the homepage, like front and center.
Oh, it will be, yes,
Okay.
yes. So we're proud of that. We had great results from our PSAT test that I shared last meeting, and so we're really proud of this. Also, in case you don't know, that's Superintendent Chalmers from from Simpsons, and he does dress a lot like me, I admit, but other than that, he's really not my role model, but I did want to announce I'm doing a new committee this year. I'm calling it a Superintendent Advisory Committee, and I'm going to invite 2 teachers or certified staff, could be a counselor or, somebody like that, from each school, and we're going to meet probably monthly and just talk about issues of concern. So kind of looking forward to that and going to get that started in the near future. Also, big news. We've talked about our Davis Demographics and Planning Study, and we just finally got the final report back, and we're just starting to digest it. It's pretty thick. I should have brought the hard copy in. Mr. Roush coordinated this with Davis Demographics, and they are a very excellent company. Been around for a long time. We use them in my previous district in the state of Washington. They do a good job of helping us look into the future and decide what are our facility needs. And so I'll come back and give you more information at future meetings, but just to give you a quick snapshot of what that study's all about, they look at all this stuff. So it's not like a simple study with only a few things. They're looking at 3 major areas: birth data, mobility factors, and student yield factors, and the things that influence them, kind of listed in yellow. And then they end up with student projections down at the bottom, or in future years. Very important for us to do proper planning. So this is the projection study graph, and so it's got some real history on the left-hand side, showing residential building permits. And so it was a huge number back there in 2005, as everybody knows, 6,613. And then it dropped down to 2008. And then the interesting thing, though, is that they're not predicting any exponential growth like that in the future. And that, I think, is very good news, because slow and steady growth we can plan for. But you can see that it is predicted to increase. They're predicting 745 building permits in the year 2019. And they have the data to kind of back that up. So it is something that we're going to need to be thinking about. And so this is the chart that kind of spells out a little bit more in detail. You can see the green bar is last year, 6,216. That is the 40th day count, and that is the FTE number. Is it? I'm sorry, ADM. Yes, I get the wrong acronym there. ADM, that's what we call it. It's not the head count number, right? It's head count number at last year averaged about 6,500. But you can see that we're going to just go up slow and steady. We're going to peak somewhere around the year 23, 24 at 7,145 ADM. So if you do head count, you could probably add about 300 on there. So that would probably be about 7,500 in, 7 years? So we're going to grow about 1,000 students over the next 7 years, according to Davis Demographics. So that's not exponential, but it's not small either. So this is going to have to be on our radar moving forward. And we'll be bringing you more information as we digest that. There's a lot of stuff there, and this is like the tip of the iceberg. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Governing board member reports. Mrs. Anderson?
Thank you, President Gutierrez. A couple things. Remember, I was going to attend the Hispanic Native American Caucus meeting. Well, it was canceled. But I did get to talk to the state superintendent's office, because they also didn't know that it was canceled. So we had a good conversation. Of course, I bragged about Maricopa. So actually, it was good. It got a little buzz into the powers that be. The other thing is, I did go to the PTO meeting, and Jim did do an amazing job. And I'm so impressed with our PTOs. I mean, the parents we have coming out to be involved in our schools, they're incredible. And I'm so excited to see that and to see them involved and want to be a part of making this district, the best in the state and then the best in the world. So they're on the same, mindset that we are, is that we're going to go forward and upward. And it was very, very reassuring to me as a board member. They had some great questions, some great comments. But I'm excited for that. So it was a pleasure to get to meet everybody and be a part of that meeting. And I will be going to the law conference meeting, which is in 2 weeks. September's already here. Whew, it's crazy. So I'll be there, and I'll be there Wednesday through Saturday. Just saying.
With you.
Yep.
Mrs. Melvin?
Well, I actually did attend the ASBA Black Caucus meeting. We prepared our agenda for the law conference that's coming up in September. And then we talked about the current trends and the events that are happening within the minority students within the state of Arizona. We had a pretty good discussion on that and was able to get a lot of information that hopefully I'll be able to sit down with Dr. Chestnut and kind of talk to him about that. And then pretty much that's what we talked about student discipline and how that affects our students in the minority community. And we talked a little bit about restorative justice, not a lot, but just a little bit. We touched on those topics. So we had a good meeting. We're looking forward to the law conference coming up, and our president, Ms. Chanel Poe, is looking forward to seeing an increase in the membership and all of that. So we're looking to hopefully get some new members going. And I also will be attending the law conference in September. Thank you.
Dr. Miller.
Yes, I'd say probably the last few weeks I've mostly had my parent hat on, so I've been really focused on transitioning the kids into school and football, and kind of right when we get into a new, rhythm at home, and then, football starts and everything. So the only thing I have to report is next Friday I'm planning to go to Desert Wind and do a tour there with June. So I sent her a message, so that's the plan. But other than that, I haven't really focused on anything. What's that?
What time next Friday?
I requested in the mornings. We haven't confirmed actually the time.
Let me know. I'd like to join you. I'm off on Fridays currently.
Okay,
That'd be
very good.
great. Okay,
I'll send you a message.
thanks. Mrs. Knorr.
Thank you. Not too much to report. I did have a great meeting this afternoon with Dr. Chestnut and staff or contract employee with the Public Education Reform Advocates here in Arizona that our district belongs to talk about how we can showcase our district to our elected officials, both local and state, to help build bridges with them so that they can help advocate for us on things that we feel are important. So looking forward to what that will bring and the opportunities there.
I just have a couple of quick things. I met with Shelley Gillespie. She was presenting the Arts Council. Actually, it's more of the Copa Shorts Film Fest, which is coming up, and our schools are participating in it. And I know some of you may have heard that the mayor and the city council have already gotten behind and have supported this by different levels of sponsorship. So Lisa will be sending out information to all of you. There is going to be a student workshop on September 9th, and that is for all of our middle school students in the blending learning program that will be attending. But for each student, it costs about $12. So I'm going to try to sponsor $50 so I can sponsor 4 students. And I would encourage all of our board members to try to do something just to try to get our students there. So she'll be sending that information out, and we are more than welcome to join them for that workshop. So if you have that day available, please plan on being it's going to be held at the high school. Which day? September 9th. And as most of you have heard, this Friday is our first home football game. It's typically our community night. We expect a huge crowd, and we need help in the concession stands. So if you are a community member, parent, you're all welcome to come out and join us. If you can spend 20 minutes or so in the concession stand, that would really help out. And that's all I have. So let's move on to our work study. Dr. Chestnut.
Okay, now we can recognize Evan for being appointed to the, let me rephrase that. Maricopa Unified School District recognizes and congratulates Evan Grace for being appointed to the 2016-17 Governor's Youth Commission. Congratulations, Evan. Come on up and receive this award. No.
There we go, okay. Moving on, our Ignite presentation. Heidi Rattle, come on down.
I just want you all to know I've agonized over this for weeks. So, yeah. All right. My name is Heidi Vrattel. I'm the professional development coach for the district. I'm starting my 21st year as an employee of Maricopa Unified School District. I've been asking teachers for a year now to do Ignite speeches for you and for their peers. Oh, look, it's going so fast. Okay. I grew up in Warren, Pennsylvania, even longer time ago than the 20 years that I've been here. We had in my hometown a state mental hospital. So we had, at the time in the 80s, was halfway houses around the community where students or adults with different kinds of needs would be. So I grew up around lots of different kinds of people. My family has always had the expectation that whatever you do the very best, and they push me to be better every day. My sons are a major reason that I've stayed here so long. RJ graduated last year in May. He was one of about 30 kids in the district that had been here since kindergarten. When I was in college, my dreams and my plan was I was going to have a third grade class of students with Down syndrome, a whole class of third graders with Down syndrome. Nobody told me that that was unrealistic. So I was interviewed and hired in Maricopa in 1996 on the spot. My plan was to teach sixth graders in a resource setting. I had sixth grade through high school, all different kinds of disabilities. I was not in Kansas anymore when I came to Maricopa. I became the special ed director, the first HR director of the district, and then those journeys ended and I went back to the classroom. This time I was teaching students with multiple disabilities in a life skills setting. I had some extremely hard students and I wasn't sure that I was in the right place or doing the right thing or that I had game anymore as a teacher. An academic coach position opened up, so I decided to apply for that. I was hired in that position and I wasn't sure I knew what I was doing. I had never taught regular ed before. People were not receptive to a special ed teacher being a coach necessarily. So I had some severe insecurities of, did I know what I was doing? How could I do this? Was I smart enough? The national board process presented itself to me at that time. And for me, at that time in my life, I was in a place of, I didn't know if I was doing what I should be doing. And this process for me was going to tell me, yes, you've got game, you know what you're doing, or no, maybe you should go work at Circle K. I found my voice through the national board process. I would not be standing here today or doing the job that I'm doing for the district without having gone through this process. It has allowed me to find my love of teaching teachers, that growing teachers in their practice ultimately impacts our students. Our goal is student impact. My role is to help teachers find their practice, grow their practice. Through all of this, I have developed a little crush on Robert Marzano. He writes a lot of research-based books on practices and skills that teachers need to have to be effective in their classrooms and impact student achievement. Along with that, we had the state evaluation pilot, which was extremely trying, but yet validating at the same time that we are on the right path and we are making the right change. I've had a lot of opportunities to facilitate professional development and to organize for our district. One of my proudest accomplishments in the last couple of years is working with some amazing mentors in growing our mentoring program at the secondary school. It is shown, research shows that teachers who have structured mentoring stay in the profession. We've had, because of those relationships we've built with the Arizona K-12 Center and with our teacher leadership, we've had opportunities to attend the Teach to Lead Summit in Washington last summer, and now to partner with the Arizona K-12 Center for the NT3 grant. Our teacher leadership opportunities are endless. We have 45 teachers participating in a national board pre-candidacy class. The most we've had is 10. So it's pretty amazing what we're able to do for our teachers to ultimately impact our students. We joke about world domination and that's our goal. Dr. Chestnut's goal is for us to be an A-rated district. We're going beyond that to world domination. We are a district under construction. We have a lot going on. We are growing in a lot of ways. We are providing a lot of opportunities for our teachers, which is ultimately impacting our students and their achievement. So my challenge for our teachers and our staff is to find your voice. Be what you need to be. Grow yourself in your practice, your students, your peers, our district, and our community to get on board with world domination.
Nice job.
Very well done.
Okay, ESS overview. Maria Rossetti.
Well, good evening, Dr. Chestnut, President Coutray, and Board. Thank you for allowing me to be here and share some things with you about our wonderful Exceptional Student Services Department. The little girl that you see is our ADISA girl, so you're going to see her quite a bit for the next little bit. Next 5 years, actually, we'll be participating in that process. So first, I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what we've got going on here in the district. Every year that I've been here, I'm starting my 5th year here, believe it or not, we've grown approximately between 50 and 75 students in the ESS department in general. So right now, we're still working with the 10-day drops and the new students that are coming in, but we're sitting at about 940 students district-wide in our self-contained and resource programs. So we've got a lot of kids with needs here in the district, and we have some amazing staff that's working with them. Currently, we have 46 teachers on staff. We have 67 paraprofessionals and behavior techs. We have 6 psychologists that are here with us full-time that are amazing. We have 2 ESS counselors currently on staff, and we're still searching for one more to fill out and round out that team. We have 11 speech-language pathologists with 5 speech-language pathology assistants. We have 2 certified occupational therapists and 2 certified occupational therapy assistants. We have 1 physical therapist who's only here with us part-time. We do share him with some other places, but we do have a physical therapy assistant that's here with us full-time. We have 2 program specialists who work here in the district and support all of our students and staff out in, and without them I couldn't do my job, so they're an amazing part of our program. We have 1 Medicaid coordinator who's also located here at the district. We've been able to grow that program, and we do bring in quite a bit of revenue from that. And then we have 1.5 records clerks to help with all of the records that go along with those 940 students. They all have an IEP, they all have a MET report, they all have progress reports on every single one of their goals, in addition to anything else that might come along. So there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with that. That's probably my least favorite part of the job. I love our district. I love our teachers and staff. They work really hard with our students every day, and they're doing a really great job. We're getting people who want to come here from out of district, and we just have to tell them no, because we don't have the availability to meet the needs of anyone who's outside of our district, because we've got such a high need here already. Dr. Chestnut has on multiple occasions told you about our ADISA process. ADISA does stand for Examining Data to Improve Student Achievement, and it came out of the Arizona Department of Ed response to the directive from the OSEP, the Office of Special Ed Programs at the federal level. What was happening was all of the special ed in the nation has gotten really good at compliance. We can do paperwork like nobody's business, But what they were noticing was that even though our paperwork was really, really good, we weren't necessarily always seeing that translate into outcomes for students. So what OSEP has directed the states to start looking at is, in addition to compliance, that doesn't go away, our paperwork never goes away, we also have to start looking at outcomes for students. So this examining data project from ADE came out of that. So we were chosen as one of the districts to participate in that with ADE. And so we spent the last year with a district level team. So I headed up that team along with Patricia Cook, who's one of the program specialists, Wade Watson, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Felicia Williams, who's our principal at Saddleback, and then Stephanie Reinhardt, who is now a TOSA, but was the academic coach at Santa Rosa at the time. The 5 of us went together with our Exceptional Student Services Program Specialist from the state level, Deanna Stout-Smith, and we sat and we looked at our data. They trained us on how to look at the data, how to ask those questions, how to keep digging all of that information up. And every time we thought we were done, we kept asking more questions, and we kept asking more questions. And so they took us for 3 two-day trainings off-site, where we just were able to focus and dig into that data and have all those conversations. In addition to that, we meet monthly. We still continue to meet monthly and look at the data and look at the things that we're doing in district. And from that, we had to come up with something that we were going to focus on. And the state of Arizona is focusing on reading. So we did, and that's where the Teaching Reading Effectively, the TRE program that we've talked to you about before, has come. And so once we got through all of that, we had to, figure out causes, and we did surveys, and we did all kinds of things to get to our problem statement, which in turn turned into our SMART goal. So this is what we're focusing on this year with that TRE program. So by the end of the 2017 Galileo performance, we want to show a 25% increase in our 3rd and 4th grade resource identified students. So those students that are just in those pull-out programs, what our data was showing us was that we're doing a really, really good job of looking at those low kids and moving them from falls far below into the meets. But then when we get there, we're not necessarily making a whole lot of progress forward. So that's why we're really focusing on that resource level student, to try and see if we can make some progress and move those kids from that meets on up to the next level, because we want them to continue to show progress. So that's really been where we've focused and kind of looked at. As a district level, the next thing that we're going to be looking at is our SAT process and that identification of students and interventions, and how can we help support the general ed process. And as we're doing that, we have identified 3 schools who are now going to take on the monumental task that we had to look at district level data. They're going to look at their school level data, the way that we dissected the district level data. So this year, we will have teams at Santa Rosa, Saddleback, and Maricopa Elementary, and they will pull all of their data, and they will start doing those investigations and doing all of that analysis to see if they have a different problem than we have as a district-wide, and then we can focus. ADE does give us a little bit of grant funding to do some implementation, so like we're able to pay for subs to do the TRE training and some of that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of money attached to that, not a lot, but enough to help us get that up and running. So I'm very excited. It just seemed to fit really well with our Move On When Ready initiative and all the other things that were going on, to be able to hopefully make some really good progress with our students with disabilities. Our district teams have already met and been established. Our site teams have been submitted to ADE, and our first training is coming up, I want to say September. Oh, and Dr. Robinson left. She was who I was looking for. So it looks like, I think their first one is in October, early October, so they'll pull us out for 2 days to do that training. And so I will be sitting on with the Maricopa Elementary team as the district person that's helping them. Saddleback, Felicia will be going ahead and heading that up and being the district level representative on that. And then Stephanie will be the district person who's working with the Santa Rosa team. So I'm really excited to see how that goes, and I'll continue to bring you updates as we figure out and do some data information. The other thing that is really exciting in our district is we have a structured learning classroom that we moved from Maricopa Elementary to Saddleback. We have lots of really good programs, and I would take all night to tell you all kinds of things, so I just tried to pick one little thing. Teach is actually a method that was designed as a therapeutic tool specifically for students with autism. So currently we have 2 teachers who have gone through the Teach training, method training. They are Teach certified, and so they have structured their classroom. These are actual pictures from their classroom. I went when the kids weren't there so that I could show you how it was structured. I'd love for you to pop in there at some point if you are ever interested or on that campus. It's a neat program to see. got a lot of students in there who have nonverbal communication issues and other things that are associated with autism, and the learning that is happening in that classroom with those students is absolutely amazing. The two teachers work in tandem in a co-teach model, and it's the classroom that has a wall that can be broken down in between. So the full wall is not out, but there is some division because they do need some definite boundaries and space. And so they have two circles running all the time. So they go from independent workstations, which is not quite so independent. They still need some guided support from adults, but independent workstations too. They work on reading, they work on writing, they work on math, they work on technology. I do have 3 touchscreen computers in there for the students to work on, and so I think there's 5 iPads in that classroom as well. So a lot of technology, a lot of really exciting things going on in there. And so just the workstations and the individual things that they have going on. Our district is amazing, and it amazes me every day how much our students and staff on all of our campuses are just so accepting of students, regardless of whether they have disabilities, don't have disabilities, race, color, creed, it doesn't matter. They all try to get along and embrace and support each other, and so that's part of the joy and fun of being here and being part of Maricopa. So thank you for your time this evening. Do you have any questions? Okay.
First, thank you for reporting on the TEACH program, because when I met with Dr. Chestnut and you last year, knowing that autism and broad spectrum autism is being even more identified now. And so I was excited that our district was actually going to have a classroom with this program going on. I think that is huge, and I think it is so innovative for us. It's one more a feather in our cap that we are really on the verge of breaking out and being the star of the state. So I'm excited to go see the classrooms now. So thank you for reporting on that.
Absolutely.
And then I wanted you to brag a little bit and let the board know because I know what you're doing, what your state title is that you're holding on right now.
I am currently the president-elect for the Council for Administrators of Special Education for the state of Arizona. So I have been, I'm starting my 2nd year. I take the official office as president in July of next year. And so because of that, I'm highly involved with the national level politics. I was actually able to go to Washington, D.C. this summer and meet with our legislators and lobby for mental health care. And we also lobbied for universal preschool, and keeping public school dollars in public schools was our other focus for Arizona. So I'm really excited. Dr. Chestnut has been very supportive of that, and it takes me out of the district a little bit of the time. I actually am presenting on Friday at the Survivors Conference for CASE for the Arizona, and then I will be at our state conference as well. And our national conference is the end of September, so I'll be going to Milwaukee for that. So it's very exciting. I love it.
It's exciting, and I was proud of it. I think it's one more thing that, when we're on the national stage, I think you're able to bring so much more back to the classroom and so much more back to our district that I think that whenever an employee has that opportunity, I'm excited that you jump at it. So I'm excited to hear about more, and just a thought, we're looking for presenters for our December Arizona School Board Association meeting, and it might be interesting to present on the TEACH classroom.
I certainly would love to talk to you about that. Absolutely.
So I'll get with you and Dr. Chestnut and maybe do, because I think that would be really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else have any other questions? No? Well, thank you for your time.
Question for you.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's a 2-part question. First, has the state increased our Medicaid dollars that comes to the schools, to our school, and also are we maximizing billing for the Medicaid?
Our state has not increased our Medicaid dollars. If anything, they decrease them whenever possible, and they continue to add additional requirements that we have to fulfill in order to get to those Medicaid dollars. So we do what we have to do. We aren't maximizing them as much as possible. We did have a training the first week before students started with all of our paraprofessionals and all of our related services with our Medicaid coordinator, who's Kathy Graham. She brought in we have a billing company that we work with and work with Access. And so we do everything we can to get our IEPs up to speed so that we can bill and get every potential dollar that we can in any way that we can, absolutely.
Very good.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Department of Public Safety bus inspection results. Mr. Laguna.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the boards, Dr. Chestnut, members of the cabinet, and also the public. I would like to introduce Sergio Polito. He's our transportation coordinator. He looks over a lot of the things that happen into the shop, mechanics, ordering parts, and scheduling PMs. What we've done is put a short presentation together just to show you what leads up to the inspections of the buses, and then I will give you the results of last year's inspection. The annual inspections, according to the state of Arizona minimum standards, school bus shall be inspected annually according to the schedules and establishments by the Department of Public Safety and the school bus. Once passed, once passed on the inspection, it will receive a sticker for that year. The inspection is mandatory to ensure the utmost safety and provide for the individual utilization of the school bus. During the inspection, the Department of Public Safety is looking for what the state considers majors and minors. If the department finds a major defect, the department shall remove the current safety inspections decal and replace it with a new safety sticker decal only after the major defect is repaired. If the department finds a minor defect, the department shall remove the current safety inspection decal and replace it with the new safety inspection decal and allow the school bus owner to maintain, to make the repairs in a timely manner. Can't see it anymore. And then with the, let's see, with the Arizona minimum standards. Now this right here is just a section of the minimum standards that show majors and minor defects. Now, in the minimum standards for school bus and school bus drivers, there's approximately 15 pages of these that the Department of Public Safety is looking for the majors and minors. Operation check. To ensure that the school bus is performing safe operating with the school buses of all the buses but not seeing it good. Drivers shall perform daily operations checks of the school bus before the bus is put into operation. This operation check must include a full inspection of the interior, underside, interior, lighting, and the brake test. And this is what happens in the mornings when the bus drivers come in. They do a pre-check of the buses before those buses go out, and they have to have that. They have to have that, and they have to go and fill. Oh, I think I hit the wrong one. This right here. So this is their checklist that they have to go through in the mornings before that bus could even be put on the road to go pick up any students, and then it has to be signed, and then it's turned in daily. So every bus driver has to do that? That's correct.
Every morning?
Every morning.
That's good to know.
Preventative maintenance. Now this is the checklist that when a bus comes in, when usually Sergio is the one doing the the PM scheduling for each and every bus. When that bus comes into the shop, that bus has to go, the mechanics have to go through each and every one of these items here. There's approximately 78 to 80 items that they have to check off. And then they have to sign off on it that that checklist has been taken care of before that bus is put back on into operation again. So when it comes into for an oil change, well then, this is what's looked at before it goes back out again. Now, the Department of Public Safety inspected 42 of Maricopa's Unified School District 20 during the fiscal year 2015-2016. All 42 buses were inspected and passed, while 11 of the buses had minors. At this time, the minor repairs were addressed and corrected. So before Department of Public Safety left the garage, the bus barn, those minors were already taken care of before those buses were even let loose back out into the yard. So it was a good year last year for the inspection.
When the inspector is there, those 11 minor defects, they were corrected that very day?
That's correct.
Okay, so before that inspector left that day, those were all fixed?
Those buses, yeah, those minor defects were taken care of that day. Yeah, the mechanics were hustling, yeah. Yeah.
Sergio sitting back there going, yeah. And it was probably hot. I'm impressed. I really am.
And then if you have any questions or...
Actually, I have a couple. What is the capacity, like per seat, that's the state standard for our buses? Because I know our buses don't have seat belts, correct?
Just the specialized transportation
Right.
Buses are the only
But the
ones that have
general, but the
seatbelts.
general,
Do not, just the driver's seat.
and
driver
what is
compartment.
what is the capacity, like students per seat?
Well, the buses are 84 passengers for the general ed. Okay, usually a rule of thumb is that for high school, you want to keep it around 56 to not more than 66. So two-thirds of what the bus capacity is. When you look at middle school, you look at approximately around anywhere from 64 to maybe 68 students. And then elementary, it's going to depend on elementary. You know, you could get up to 70 students on a bus.
Okay. And what is the district's plan, or how do we address when our buses have more than 66 high schoolers on a route, and they're sitting on each other's laps? And what is our process?
Well, our process right now, we have already done 3 student counts on the buses. And this next Thursday, we will do a major change on those bus routes that we feel that have reached the capacity and we need to do some changes. We did have to add one more school bus we will add one more school route to the high school and to Desert Winds due to the increase of students on those schools.
And
So-
how will that get communicated to those parents?
We are communicating, there will be a letter going out tomorrow to each student for their parents, and then we'll do a Connect Ed. And then I know the high school is going to be helping us with the communication also too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and what we do, before the 100-day count, the state has put into place now that we have to have at least 25 days that we have taken student counts for eligible student riders.
Okay.
So so we just keep that, and then the 80 days we do a 20 count. So we know approximately how many students are in each bus.
Mr. Lukun, I wanted to, as a parent whose kids have ridden the bus forever, and I'm one of those parents whose kids are on the bus for 45 minutes to an hour, which is fine. I was on the bus for that long without air conditioners, and we just had the windows down, and that's on a dirt road, so there was no sympathy coming from this mom. So, but I want to, you know, in the last couple years, I think that your bus drivers have done a phenomenal job, particularly the ones that I see, of greeting our students, because they are the first person that our students see when they're coming to school, and they're the last person that they see. And it makes a huge difference when these kids get on the bus and the bus driver has a smile and greets them by name and makes them feel welcome. And so I wanted to say thank you to your staff. We don't say that enough, but our bus drivers really are the first people that these kids see, and it can make or break their day and their attitude when they get to the school. So thank you for hiring some amazing bus drivers. I trust them with the safety of my own students, and, you know, my own children. But I think that the last couple years, it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm impressed. I think that you've got a great team that has come together. And because we can't be an A district without our bus drivers and without our secretaries. And so, you know, we're all pieces of this puzzle. So thank you. For doing an amazing job and for keeping our buses safe. And, you know, things happen when they're going to be full, and that's great that we've got that many kids. But I know that you're on it, and you're able to restructure the bus route. And it's no big deal as a parent when you get you know, there were times when my boys were restructured 3 and 4 times in the first 2 weeks of school. I mean, and it's no big deal. It's like, kids are like, whatever. So, you know, kudos to you and thank you as a parent and as a school board member for being a really productive part of this team.
Yeah. I try to make the change 2 weeks after school has started, so we don't do so many changes. And then we will look at it again the second week in September again. So if there's going to be another change or we get an increase of students, well, we will do that, you know, so.
No, it's doing good.
I know that parents, the public, and a lot of people do not realize how much a bus driver has to go through the training. On a new employee coming in, it takes at least 2.5 to 3 months of training just to get them. Not only are they doing the CDL part, they have to do the state part, which is the minimum standards. Then they have to do CPR, first aid, CPI training. They have to go through, each and every one of them have to go through wheelchair training. Then they have to do physical performance, that they're able to lift so much and do so much and get off of that bus and be able to evacuate that bus. So there's a lot more that the state has put in that we have to do. And years ago in the 90s under Governor Hall, I was one of the very lucky ones to be on the advisory council for school buses and school bus drivers, and we redid that book again, which is the current book that's right now, which they're already working on revising it again for this next fiscal year. So, you know, the state has gone a long ways of what they've done and what they've put in and the mandates that we have to follow anymore, so, for the safety of the children. Yeah.
I had an opportunity to go and meet with you and meet with your staff, and, you know, definitely encourage other board members and also Mr. Judd out in the audience to go and meet with your staff and you and check out the facility. I was very impressed. I think I was really impressed just with the culture you have within with your group. High level of respect for each other. Definitely people filling in when there's needed. So, you know, kudos for you and your staff. I know you guys are working very hard, and I know you guys have a lot on your plate, especially with all the inspections and all the work that you're doing. And so definitely I'm very impressed with your work and Sergio's work, and definitely when football season, you know, we start, so I'll have to show up sometime with my Chiefs apparel on. So they're all Steelers fans there. So
well, not everybody now.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. We do have some, but I definitely was very impressed with you and your staff, and definitely encourage other board members to come and visit your facility and you know, keep up the good work.
Well, thank
And
you.
so if I was to ask one question, and I don't know if you would have the answer to this, it was just something I was reading not too long ago, but I understand that there's the state of Arizona has I don't know, a logarithm or a formula for how it pays the districts and transportation. I've heard that there's been talks of possibly changing those rates. Are you familiar, anything about that?
Yes, I am. I am familiar with that, and that's why I think they're putting in this 25-day count, you know, of student eligible riders. And I don't know if it is going to go into place, but I've heard that possibly by, you know, in a couple of years that instead of being paid for by the mile, that the district will be paid by student eligible riders. So I think that's what they're working at right now, and that's why they put into place that you have to have 25 days before the 100th day count. And the way it's counted, it's different now too. The way the student riders are counted. Yeah. Yeah.
So does that make it easier or more challenging for our district, do you believe?
I think it'd make it more challenging. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to make it easier.
Yeah. Especially with the miles that some of the districts put on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have some long routes, do we not? We've got some pretty long routes that we have to take.
Yeah, we do have some long routes, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Gunnar.
you.
All right, review of our monthly financial report for May of 2016. Mr. Roush.
President Kuche, members of the board, Dr. Chestnut, cabinet. So nice to see the cabinet here tonight. We don't always get all the members. Want to go ahead and talk about our front page. As always, we feature somebody from the school district or department, and we're featuring the Air Force JROTC and the award ceremony. So with that, as you know, we do a 2-page memo, and I always like to remind everybody that's watching that this particular report is on the web page, and past reports are on the web page because of one of the things we strongly believe, and I do too as a former auditor, is in transparency. So with that, I want to point out we did our first revision of the year in May, and this reflects revision 1. We had 2 revisions, if you recall. With that, the projection, if you would, for the general fund or maintenance operation fund, the budget is $33,809,000, but with only, and it's not a closeout of the year, with $533,000 of reserve. So that's a real tight budget. That's not a year end. And that, I want folks to understand, that is our reserve in that fund. It's how the state of Arizona doesn't really give you much of a reserve, so you really have to hit it. You can't go over your budget. Also want to point out a couple things. This year we're going to have a different enrollment count system, and it's called real-time enrollment counts. So prior years it was based on the prior year, not the current year enrollment counts. So you could afford to kind of miss a little bit, but can't anymore because it's real time. So obviously you want to probably be a little bit conservative on that because you cannot in the state of Arizona go over your budget. Also, I want to point out with that on every report, and again it's available to everybody, the very last page we do a student enrollment head count. Now head count is not ADM, average daily maintenance. and average daily maintenance is what the budget is built on. There is a little bit of a correlation, but it's not the same. But there is a headcount report, and every month that report will be updated. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. And so they can keep track of it too if they want in the district or outside the district too. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Just, Mr. Roche, on that student enrollment, on the head count, it seems like we kind of missed the 10th grade in that last column. So so our counts went down significantly as a total. Now, I'm assuming that the entire 10th grade didn't just stop coming to school that month. We just kind of
thanks
forgot
for
to
pointing
put
that out.
figure in. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll revise that and add that into there.
Okay.
Thanks.
It was interesting looking at last year's data and trying to grasp it now that we're in the next fiscal year. But
It's current year funding.
yeah. Are there any questions for Mr. Roush?
None for me. It's very clear. Thank you.
I know I've asked this question before, but can you remind me, on page F2, the Prop 301 funds, what is Fund 11?
Fund 11 is it's the amount of money you can add to the base salary
Okay.
for teachers
great.
only.
Okay. That's the base salary. Okay.
Fund 12 is the performance pay, and Fund 13, you can do a variety of things, but
Class size reduction.
we do class size reduction.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or any other points?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Roush. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have any motions?
Motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And note that Dr. Miller had to leave the room for a minute. All right, let's move on then to our action items. Okay. Discussion and possible approval of the personnel schedule. Mr. Beckett.
Thank you, President Coutray, members of the governing board. You have in front of you the personnel schedule for tonight. There is one correction I'd like to start out with on number 20. We already did receive a resignation on that particular new employee. So we'll just, if we could amend that and remove number 20, please.
Remove 20?
Yeah.
Please. And I will take any of your questions at this point in time.
Are the stipends, are we up to date on all of our overload stipends?
Thank you, President Coutray. As you can see, it's a pretty substantial list there, and we have been working very, very closely with the high school, the middle school, exceptional student services on these, and we believe it's accurate at this point in time. Again, it's a constant challenge for us to try to be accurate on this and plan ahead. It's always difficult to know who's going to show up and what our individual needs are, but again, I think Dr. Chestnut and Mrs. Roden both have done a good job working with the principals and determining that list, and we do feel it is accurate at this point in time.
And this is just for the first semester, so we'll come back in January and do this again if we needed.
Please, yes, we will.
Okay.
So we give overload stipends at the high school level because they forego their prep period to teach a class, correct?
That is correct.
Are we having to give overload stipends at the high school and having teachers do this because we weren't able to hire certain positions? Or was it just added classes that needed to be because of our enrollment growth, which I saw was pretty substantial?
And the answer is yes to both of those situations.
Both, we weren't able to hire some?
Correct.
Okay.
But I think it's more important to realize that the overloads, and again, Dr. Chestnut, chime in here if I'm misspeaking, but my understanding is that it's sometimes difficult to hire for a teacher whenever you need one section of English 3.
Right.
And then you've got a chemistry position. So it makes more sense to grant an overload than to try to find somebody who has multiple licensure in those situations. So it does present an interesting challenge, but again, I think we're always looking to make sure if we can handle that with a single hire, that is our preference. But again, it does present an interesting challenge.
Right.
The overload stipends were also
given to middle school teachers as well, and then also to the elementary ESS.
Correct. Yeah, those
So,
elementary
hit all
teachers
levels, yeah.
without any breaks, yes. And we'll be assessing our elementary staff as well, and if we have a process in place for granting overloads for them based upon their student counts, and we're monitoring that at this point in time as well.
When does that decision get made? How long do we wait? Because I mean, I know we've only been in school for a couple of weeks, so when do we start looking at that?
The 10th day, once they pass the 10th day and they have exceeded the cap for that particular grade level, every student that is over that, they receive a daily allowance in addition to that. And again, that's tracked through a sheet that they have that's signed off by the principal, then turned into payroll.
Okay, great.
I'm glad we do that now for our elementary teachers. I know we didn't for some time, so I'm glad that we're doing that. And it's nice to see that we need all these classes. I mean, on the positive side. So.
I just want to point out, too, that despite the large number of overloads, we still have large class sizes across the board at the high school. And this does not address, I mean, our target is 37, but it doesn't address every class. With approval of this agenda, not every class will be under 37. Now, ideally, I mean, that's the goal, but there are still some 38, 39, 40. Hopefully, that teacher then has another class that's 33, 34 to try and balance it out. But we're still crowded at the high school.
Do I have any more questions or a motion?
Motion to approve.
With the removal of,
Yeah, you have to, with the amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to approve subtracting item 20.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckett. Discussion and possible approval of the Arizona School Board Association bylaw amendments. So we are tasked if we want to submit a bylaw amendment to be considered at the annual meeting, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
but they'll talk about it at the delegate
At
assembly.
the delegate assembly, but this will be
And then it'll go to vote.
vote at the annual meeting. So do we have anything that we want to present? We have until September 15th.
I do.
Okay.
Couple things. I just wanted to share with you that I did, ASBA has a governance committee which supposedly looks over bylaws and rules and policies and stuff. And so I did present to the governance committee along with a board member from Oracle on how to restructure the board of directors. Because when you get to 20 directors, it's really hard to have a meeting and really to get anything done. So I just wanted to throw out there what our suggestion was, because it might be something that we possibly want to put as a bylaw change. And as a district, we can do that. I mean, because I don't know that the governance committee even thought about it. Okay. Okay, so, but the thought is, the question is, do county directors fully represent every student in our state and the board of the different school boards? The demographics are so different. And the other thing that, in serving on the board of directors, it's really hard to get these county directors to really do anything. They're really not connected with all the school boards in their county, because you may have very different demographics. You may have a rural school and then you may have an urban school. So it's really hard for sometimes the directors to connect. As far as Pinal County, it's really hard to go and visit every single school district in Pinal County. For me, it was not something that I could do on a daily basis. So it was easy to connect electronically, but it still, does it really represent and does it really serve ASBA and our policies well? So one idea that we came up with in looking at it was to possibly restructure the board of directors based on demographics. So it would actually go from a board of 18, 20 to a board of 11, which would be much more effective. And then the other thought is if it was a specific demographic, let's say there was a Part of the breakdown, and I'll just read it to you so that it's easy, because we looked at the state, school, children, demographics in public school. And so the areas could be rural, east and west, and urban, could be north, central, and south. You could have a black representative, then you could have a Native American representative, a Hispanic representative, but you would also need a Hispanic north, central, and south based on the Hispanic population in the state. And then you would have an LGBT representative. So the thought is that with 11 directors and representing the specific groups, that you might get better input on really how Arizona School Board Association can serve the school districts and the children in the state of Arizona. Because now you've got somebody that is from a specific demographic that they actually have insight into their population and into the needs of that demographic. And so it might be a different way of looking at the School Board Association and truly serving the needs of the state. So that was just one thought that, you know, and I basically we need people's input is to, you know what, is that, are we truly representing school boards across the state? You know, are we really reaching out to Coconino County, which, you know, some of the Native American reservations and school districts don't even have internet. You know, and they don't have school buses. So are we really representing, because what I find with Arizona School Board Association is a lot of the decisions are made on Maricopa County because they feel that's the largest population in the state. But does it really represent everybody? So that was one idea, throwing that out there as a possible policy change or something, you know, bylaw change. I know that the governance committee is looking at it, and they're having another committee look at it. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys, so that you knew that I was the crazy woman that presented this, just as a thought, as to are we really servicing what we're supposed to? And then the next thing, real short, I would like to propose a bylaw change for, and I have this written down, Lisa, if the board decides. I mean, we can discuss it tonight and think about it and maybe put it on the next agenda. It has to be approved, yeah. So it would be Article 5, Officers and Board of Directors and Executive Committee. So it's Article 5, Section 5. And I'm proposing a change, and I do know that Oracle and a couple of other school districts, because I did reach out to other school districts, they're also proposing a similar change. So in Article 5, the current line reads, a committee shall submit a slate of officers consisting of one or more nominees for each office to the general membership at the annual membership meeting. But this is supposed to be an election, and my definition of election is more than one person. So I would like to suggest that we change that. A very simple change, rather than trying to get into a big discussion, is the committee shall submit a slate of officers consisting of 2 or more. So it's on that third line from the bottom. You would change 1 to 2, very simple fix, because then I think that allows the membership to truly choose between 2 great candidates. You know, and then the nomination committee can still narrow it down to 2, but I think that then it's a true election. And then the next proposal, which is also what a couple school districts are asking to be deleted, is that very last line that says, additional nominations may be made from the floor, provided the consent of the nominee has been obtained. If you've got 2 or more officers in election, there is no need to run from the floor. I think it's very disruptive, and I think it's very disrespectful to those people who actually took time to put an application in and go to the interview process and get letters of recommendation. I mean, it's a big packet that you have to fill out, having done it a couple times. And I just think it's disrespectful, and I think that it's unprofessional as an Arizona School Board Association to allow that. So I would say my proposal is to change it from 1 to 2 nominees, and then not allow any nominations from the floor. So, and Oracle's also going to be putting that in.
These bylaws, so we're just talking, and I don't have anything.
It's on the ASBA.
It's on the website.
Okay.
But you know, I'll give this to Lisa,
Okay.
and she can
I have it.
she can copy it and send it to everybody, because I've got a hard copy in my ASBA book. Will that help? Okay.
I just so I can have something to look at to refer to.
Yeah,
It's like-
well, and then before you, another question, another delete, President Coutray, is the very last paragraph, the second sentence. It says, "The election shall be a written ballot," and I would like to delete "when there is more than one nominee for any office." I think it should be a written ballot all the time. So I would like to delete "when there is more than one nominee for an office." So I've got these, and I can give it to Lisa, and then she can, but that would be my proposal. I feel strongly about that we truly need to make it an election, and have a choice between, you know, two great people. So,
Serving on the governance committee this year and last year, and I have also served on past nominating committees. I am 100% behind changing the way the nominations and elections are being done. However, my thing is that if anybody's going to go out there and put themselves out there to run for an executive board position, if it's a true election, anybody who puts a name in the hat should have their name on the ballot. I believe that the nominating committee could recommend two or more, so like they would be like endorsed. So, but to say that only two, because serving on the nominating committee, if you tell them they only have to have one, they only pick one. You tell them two or more, they're going to pick two. And I really feel that if anybody's going to be putting themselves out there, I believe that they should be given that chance to be voted for, but I believe the nomination committee would be able to, like, have an endorsement. So, like, they could pick two people that they feel are best candidates, but anybody who puts themselves out there should really have their name on the ballot and have the opportunity to be voted for.
and that was, I will say, President Coutray, that is a conversation that has been happening for the last 3 years, and it's been debated very strongly and passionately. And I think it's going to continue to be debated because we've got, you know, hundreds of board members in the state. So you've really got to have a process to narrow it down. That's why, because I know that we've been talking about it for 4 years at least, about this whole nomination process, and nothing has changed. So that's why I would like to propose a really simple word change from 1 to 2 for now, while the governance committee is continuing to look at the process, because I think that is a long process.
It is a long process.
Yes.
And I will say that we have a good shot at
Yes.
changing that 1 to 2.
Yes.
But where you're going to have the fight is removing that additional nominations may be made from the floor.
And that's fine.
And that's, because I will tell you that was a huge discussion at the governance committee. But I'm all for supporting those changes. I think we should try it. And so, Lisa, if we could just write that up and put that, and we'll
I'll give you my copies before I leave.
put it on the agenda, and we'll be able to vote it at the next board meeting, and that will give us time before the deadline for
To look at
submittal
it.
for this.
And I
So
do know
it'll
that
give you
there is
guys an opportunity
support.
to research it as well.
Just to let you know, there is support from other districts for these 2 changes. So I think that if we approve this as our board, we can send it out to other districts and say, this is what we're doing, what do you think? And then that's how you build consensus.
Yep.
Because it's going to be debated for a couple more years. But I think if we can just make this one simple change while it continues to be sorted out. I mean, the process is never going to be perfect, but
It's a start.
it's a start, absolutely.
start.
It's a start to being a little more professional, a little more up to date. So, anyway, that's what I have.
Is there any other suggestions for bylaw changes? Okay, so I don't think we need to take action on this tonight. I'd prefer you guys to have a lot of time to review what Mrs. Anderson is presenting, and I am totally in support of that. So we'll take a look at this at the next board meeting.
So I'll give this to Lisa, and she can copy
I
it
have it. I
and
got it
send
right
it.
here. She
I know,
can
but
have
my changes are
Write it
highlighted.
down.
I'll give her mine too.
Okay.
So,
All right.
thank you for listening.
Okay, moving on. Discussion and possible approval of rescheduling the October 5th board meeting. As you all were, I'm sure, sent invitations for, that is the state of the city. Didn't know that when we made this change. When we approved our calendar, we had no idea that that was going to be done. And one of the reasons that we had moved our board meeting from that second week to the first week is because the second week was fall break. And then And they come back, and I think it was a conference week. So that's why we moved the October, from the October 12th to the 5th. So I'm not going to make this decision unilaterally, so I said, Dr. Chestnut, let's bring this to the board to find out. I like to go to the State of the City. I haven't missed one. I'm usually there. But, if the board wants to have the meeting on the 5th, I will be here. So what is your feelings and your take on this?
We'll have a meeting the 26th of that month, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, I would like to go to the State of the City address as well.
I would as well, but I would also like to go to my kids' student-led conferences, so I don't want to reschedule.
Exactly.
Right.
That was the issue that we were coming across.
Yeah.
And I also will be gone for break.
So will I.
Yeah, I think that
I don't get to go anywhere.
having one that month will be fine. I
What do you
would think
think?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am
Dr.
too.
Chestnut, what's the implications that, on staff?
We can do it. The second meeting in October would be longer, but we could do it.
Because typically that second meeting in October, we're also going to start the Rotary Students of the Month again. And so that,
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
We do them at the beginning. If we're here late, that's fine. We're
Make
here
up for
anyways.
last week,
Yeah.
or last session.
okay. So somebody be responsible for ordering pizza. And do I have a motion then?
Yeah, I'll motion to change our, actually, not to have a meeting on October 5th.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're down to one in October.
Which will still be the 26th.
Correct.
Okay.
We're not changing it, just the one. Okay, discussion and possible approval of the first reading of IKF graduation requirements. Dr. Chestnut, we had not taken any action on this at the last board meeting. You were going to get some feedback from Principal Myers.
Right, I did, and we do think this seal of biliteracy is something we would like to pursue in the future. We're not going to pursue it for this school year. We need to wait for ADE to determine which tests will be permissible to determine that. It'll probably end up being an advanced placement test, which would work well because we have advanced placement Spanish, for example. Hope to add advanced placement German and that kind of thing in the future, but still think it would be worthwhile to adopt the policy as presented because this would allow us to do it in the future when the time is right, because it does say in the policy there that it would be, the school district may participate, doesn't mean we have to. Similar with the CPR instruction and training, we know we'll have to do that at some point. It's not necessarily this year. We're still working on the timing on that. We may take advantage of the wording that says we don't have to provide it until 18-19. We're still working that through, but I think we could adopt it and be ready to go for both of those issues.
Does anybody have any questions? Any motions?
Motion to approve?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The rest of these are policy changes that have resulted in statute changes, correct? Yeah. Okay. So our next one is discussion and possible approval of the first reading of policy JFB, open enrollment. Any questions, discussions, or motions?
No discussion, motion
I didn't
to
see
approve.
anything.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll go ahead.
Okay, Mrs. Melvin, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible approval of the first reading of JICI, weapons in school. Any questions, discussions, or motions?
Question. I just want to clarify, this is basically common sense to me, that we just don't have jurisdiction over public property. So if somebody's going down Honeycutt in front of the school and they've got a concealed weapon in the car, we have nothing to do with that. I mean, it makes sense we wouldn't, but that's all this policy is saying.
I think the issue
Okay.
came about because of bus stops. I think that's where this issue
Maybe.
came about, because of bus stops,
Oh.
because the bus stops are on public roads.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so that's why, that's why this policy has been put in place, the word changing.
It could be. I mean, it could be parking lots, it could be anything, but to me, it's common
But we
sense.
do have jurisdiction over our parking lots.
Yes.
Yes, that's considered private property.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's school property. The minute you cross over that curb,
Right.
Go through the right away? So do I have any motions?
I'll motion to approve policy JICI as is.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion possible approval of the first reading of policy JJJ, extracurricular activity eligibility. Do I have any questions, discussions, or motions?
No discussion, motion to approve?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible approval of first reading of policy JLCD, medicines administrating medicines to students. Dr. Chesney, I just want to make sure, because I don't know all the medical terminology, but does this have to do with like the EpiPen? Is that what this medicine is talking about? No. It's,
Go ahead.
Well, it's like an opiate-based medicine, usually for people like in withdrawal from opiates or
It's specific.
also an antagonist,
Yeah.
opiate antagonist.
so this is just, so basically this policy is just saying as long as a nurse or a health assistant does this, they're kind of covered under like the good citizen.
Liability, right.
Well, it's like the Good Citizen Act,
Right.
like if when you're helping somebody with CPR, you're covered with that. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's what this is about.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
had
it
no
also-
idea what those.
It also allows us to have that available, which
The
before I don't
antagonist
think we
on-
did.
on
Yeah,
site.
right.
If we
'Cause
felt
that's what
we
I
needed to.
read, anyway.
Yeah, I just didn't know what
Yeah.
that, I just didn't know what that was.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's a.
Yeah,
There's some
I
reason why
had
it's
no
not
idea.
open,
Yeah.
but I just can't remember reading earlier. Mine's not
It's
opening
a-
right now.
When someone's ODing, it's an
Right.
instant shot that they give them, and
Okay.
it counteracts the OD.
Okay.
And they-
Or
they-
if they're
the
having
sooner they
withdrawals.
give it- Yeah, the
Right.
sooner they give it to them, that's
Gotcha.
why,
Okay.
if you wait for fire department to get here, sometimes it's easier for the principal or someone on staff to do it.
And now they can do it without having to worry about being sued.
Correct.
Awesome.
If we do we even stock it?
Okay.
Something to look into.
Okay.
So the only question I was going to ask on this, and maybe it's more of a Maryland question, but I believe it'd be a Schedule I then, right? Since it's an opiate-based medicine. I mean, is there any type of, I'm sure it'd be handled the same way as the other Scheduled I medications are in district schools?
Yeah, this is out of my league, and I meant to talk to Marilyn about it, didn't get a chance, but Krista Roden supervises Marilyn, works with her pretty closely, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that Krista can get that information,
Yeah.
and we can let you know.
Do you feel comfortable voting, or do you want us to wait?
I feel comfortable voting.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so do I have a motion?
Yes, I'll motion to approve policy JLCD
I
for
have a
amended
I'm sorry.
medicine administering.
Sorry, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Sorry,
I'll
Dr. Melvin.
second.
Thank you, Mrs. Melvin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And our last item of the evening, adjournment. Do I have any motions?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. It's 8:17.